Nice early morning CLE. Ready to rock. Well, my name's Patrick. I'm with Citywide Title, and Steve and I put this together for you guys. So you guys can get some extra CLE and hopefully learn a little bit about business development and put it into your practices. I just want to give you a few words about Citywide Title. I don't know if everyone in here is doing real estate or dabbles in real estate or knows somebody who does real estate. I'd love to meet all of the above. So if you can pass my name along, that'd be great. Reasons why you might want to do that: Citywide Title is a smaller boutique title company. We focus mostly on residential. We do smaller commercial deals as well. And because we're boutique, we specialize in service. And a lot of companies can talk about service till they're blue in the face, and that's great. But we actually have some other platforms that separate us as well. Number one, we have a marketing platform for our attorney agents. The best referral source for a lot of real estate agents are realtors. We have a lot of relationships with Chicago Association of Realtors and Main Street Organization of Realtors, where realtors and managing brokers, have to do CE classes. These organizations invite us in, and we have a couple of tools that we provide to these organizations for free. And they've also asked us to bring attorneys in before the class so that realtors can bounce questions off them. We have a couple of attorneys here who have done it and have been pretty successful at it. You can ask them about it, how they're doing it. They're doing really well, actually, the guys that are here. If you want introductions to them, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. So we have ways to help you drive business to your office and get more real estate files in your practice. We also have a system called CPAS. CPAS is a system that handles clerical items at your direction. So as an attorney agent, you guys are still going to be examining title, issuing it, and examining title, determining insurability title, and issuing it. But at your direction, we can handle clerical items for you, such as paid assessment letters. We can actually get those for you and front the money for it. We'll get your transfer stamps, we'll get your water and zoning order, we'll get your survey, and we don't charge extra for that processing fee other than the traditional fees that we pay for zoning or water or a survey and things like that. So it takes a lot of work off your plate, a lot of the mundane, and I'd be happy to talk to you guys more about it and explain why it benefits you and how it gives you more time and provides you guys actually more money. So I'll probably give you guys a follow-up call. If you take it, that'd be great. And just say, Pat, I don't even do real estate, but maybe talk to this guy, that'd be fantastic. But that's basically all I have for now. So the real reason we're here is Mr. Fretzin. I didn't even know Steve about 6 months ago, but I met him, started asking about him. It seems like he's a pretty good secret for a lot of attorneys. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Steve, let him go. And I'll be around afterwards if you guys have any questions. So appreciate it. Enjoy the class.
All right. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Everybody got their juice, their coffee, their caffeine, their hydrated, caffeinated, ready to go? All right, we're going to blow your minds today. Everyone's walking out here with 3 or 4 new matters. Just kidding, that's not going to happen. But maybe you can network with some other attorneys. That's okay. Couple administrative things. Number one is, if you didn't sign up for the CLE and put your name on the list, I will have Christine pass this around one more time, so just get it lands in front of you, keep it moving around just to make sure everybody's got their number in here. Also, there's a handout. If you don't have a handout in front of you, raise your hand. Christine will pass it out to you. But the handout includes an article, and there's 2 surveys, one for me, one for the MCLE. And then the last thing is your certificate. You're going to want to take that with you. I have a couple people that left them behind last time. I was like, I think you want that. So that being said, we're gonna go from there. Today is going to be a bit of a whirlwind because I set up a program that covers so much ground that we're literally going cradle to grave with this thing. And my philosophy of coaching attorneys, I've worked with attorneys now for about 10 years, and it's my primary focus. I've worked in the past in over 50 industries, from companies as big as the Tribune and Canon to literally carpet cleaners and local website guys. So I've really worked in every spectrum, but all of my time is spent every day, all day, working with attorneys. So some people say, I'm sorry for you. Other people say, that's wonderful, you're in the right place. I agree on both sides. But the people that hire me typically are the most wonderful people that I get to meet, because I think about the mindset of someone that is interested in business development. It's typically someone who's open-minded. It's typically someone that wants to learn, that understands that there's a gap between what they taught you in law school, what you're learning from mentors and learning just from experience, and that this is actually something that you can learn as a skill and that you can develop and grow your practice through skills that can be taught and learned. And coached. So it's been wonderful for me. A little bit more about my background. I've written 2 books. One came out about 4 years ago called Sales Free Selling. There is literally a picture of a tombstone on the cover with the word sales written on it. So if you're here to learn sales today, you've come to the wrong place. I do not teach sales. I hate salespeople. Okay? So what I'm doing is I'm teaching what's called sales-free selling, which is the opposite. It's more about listening, questioning, being consultative, the kinds of things that you would probably want to do, as opposed to being, someone that's trying to convince people of things. And then more recently, the Attorney's Networking Handbook, which was published by ICLE, came out in August. We had a nice book launch, which was wonderful. I'm a monthly columnist for the Daily Law Bulletin and the National Law Review. I was on the cover yesterday, so you guys can see my monthly column if you want to keep up with me on that. And then lastly and I'm going to show you a demo of this. I've actually created an e-learning platform to teach attorneys business development through online video and content. And so some of you may, at the end of today, say, hey, Steve's someone I want to talk to about coaching, and I'm interested in what he has to say, and this is all good stuff. Others might say, you know what, I'd rather do this at home in my own time and watch videos and learn from, his experience and on my own time at my own pace. Well, that's available as well. So I'm trying to kind of give everybody something so at least you can get some movement forward. What we're going to cover today, and I mentioned it's a lot, we're going to talk about a marketing plan. Who here, raise your hand, has a solid marketing plan for their year? Okay, most of the people that would raise their hand, if there was someone that raised their hand, it would typically be, well, I have a list of people I need to call, or I have a list of events or groups that I want to join. And that's not a plan, that's a part of a plan. So I'm actually going to help you guys get a plan started today so that if you want to move that forward and actually write a plan, that you can do it. And I'll give you the assistance to help you with that. Ethical networking that gets you results. Many of the people I talk to are out there networking, attending events, attending conferences and seminars, and they're meeting for coffees all the time, and they're just not getting anything from it. They're not really getting value for the time that's being invested. We're going to talk about how to get some value in doing that. Business development. It has changed dramatically. So when I talk about how I believe sales is dead or that sales is not really an effective way to go, I'm going to explain why I'm saying that, and I'm going to give you some suggestions about how to improve opportunities that do get presented to you. So if you have an opportunity to get in front of someone who could use your services, you want to have an approach that's going to resonate, and you want to have an approach that's non-salesy, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, and then lastly is improving the client experience to get retention, get introductions. Most of the attorneys I work with, they don't want to talk to their clients about how the client can make an introduction, and they just wait for things to happen. If the client refers me, the client refers me. Well, you're doing great work for a client and they're not referring you for 5 years, at some point you might want to have a conversation because they just didn't realize that you were looking, or they didn't realize that you were open for business. So there's ways to do that, and we'll talk about some approaches. So literally we're going from planning all the way through networking, prospecting for new potential clients to business development, all the way through client retention. And we're going to do it in an hour. Okay, so, hopefully, if you can just walk out of here today and say, look, there's 2 things or 3 things that I picked up that I didn't know or that I can improve on, I think that's worth the money and the time that you're spending here. And if not, you can talk to me individually later. All right, so let's talk about planning. And here's the thing. If I'm deciding that, hey, we're a group, right? Does anybody here ever want to travel through Africa? Raise your hand. Who would like to travel through Africa? I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Come on, all right? Check out some animals, all right? So let's say that we all agree that we're going to travel through Africa together. This is our bus, okay? And we don't have a plan. We don't have a guide. We don't have provisions. We're just going to start somewhere and just drive. How does that sound to you guys? I mean, how long would we really last? We'd be eating each other within a week, right? It would be horrible, right? Now, people that I know that have traveled to Africa have a very strongly regimented, kind of program that they're going through from a standpoint of where they're going, who their guide is, where they stay, the food they eat. Everything is set up properly because they had a plan going into it. If you're out there trying to find new business and that's important to you to keep your business, keep your practice going, and you don't have a plan in place, again, you're just winging it, and then you're going to have potentially a year like you had last year and the year before. There's no breakouts unless you get lucky, which, you know, that can happen, right? Get a big piece of litigation, great. But if that doesn't happen and you don't have a regimented way of going about it, that's where things fall short. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this. So again, if you want to take notes, take notes. What I'll do is, we have everybody's email that's here today. I'm recording this, and I've got a PowerPoint. I can send that out to you all after today if we get that edited up. And a part of that, I will also include some additional detail about how to write a plan. Okay, so you guys will have that beyond today. If you don't want to take notes or whatever, you can just listen and we'll get it to you. The main thing that you want to think about is what's your objective. Think about your year, okay, 2017. Is it just a year that's going to happen, or do you have a specific goal in mind? All right, does anybody here have a goal of picking up 2 new clients, going from 250 to 500 in originations? What's your number? What's your goal? Okay, that's your objective. It should be broad. It should be, you know, just laid out in one sentence. I will obtain 500,000 in new business by the end of the year. That's it. Very straightforward. Okay? Once you have that in mind, then the question is, how are you going to do that? Okay, we're going to look at strategies to do that. What are some examples of strategies? What are things that you all would do? And I'm going to try to get you to participate, okay, as part of making this more interesting for me and for you. So what are some strategies that you currently are using to grow your book year after year, to maintain your book, to make sure that you continually have business coming in? Help me out. Nothing. We do nothing. We just phone.
I send emails out to realtors that I've met.
Okay.
At events, follow up every 6 months or so.
Okay, so I heard 2 things. Number one is you're attending events. That's a strategy. I'm attending events. I'm meeting new people. Okay. Another one is I have email campaigns. I'm keeping in touch with people that already know me through email. That's another strategy. Help me out. What's another one? Yes.
I presented at Realtors Continuing Education.
Right. So now we're presenting. We're getting in front of a group of people that either could do business with us, that could refer us, that we could educate. Great. Another strategy. That's terrific. What else? Okay. There are more. Okay. Things like development of strategic partnerships. What does that mean? Who here has ever been referred some business by someone that doesn't do what you do? Right? A CPA, another lawyer, financial advisor. So there are people that could feed you business month after month, year after year, if they're the right people and they don't have a resource like you, or you become their resource, right? So that's what we're doing there. So there are strategies that you're going to want to develop, and I would recommend in between 2 and 4. I think 1 is probably not enough, and 12 is probably too many, right? So if you can just pick 3 or 4 strategies that you can do, and it's almost like thinking about having some different buckets. This is my, I'm going to attend events bucket, and then this is my, I'm going to develop some strategic partners bucket. And you know what, I've got about 50 clients that think I'm terrific, and I'm going to leverage them for referrals, and that's a bucket. But if you think about those 3 buckets, if you leverage them properly, could that pay off some pretty big dividends throughout the year? The answer should be yes. If the answer is no, then you don't have the right buckets, or you need to develop buckets. Yes?
Are there different strategies that work better for different types of practices?
Absolutely, and based on where you are with your practice. So again, if you're someone, and I'll give an example. I have an estate planning attorney as a client. He does over $1 million. He's doing everything right, but he's missing, for example, cross-marketing. He's in a full-service firm. He never talks to his executives and his CEO clients about cross-marketing. That was a bucket that he could literally just meet with 1 client a week over 50 weeks, and he could be asked the right questions. He would uncover all this work that he would be able to bring into his firm that he wouldn't even have to touch. So think about what area of practice you're in, and think about what buckets would work. So let me give another example. Same estate planning attorney example. Cross-marketing would be a bucket that would be, I think, really great if you're in a full-service firm. Let me ask you, what would be another bucket that an estate, is anybody here an estate planner, just out of curiosity? Okay, so what's another bucket that would make sense for an estate planning attorney?
You said CPAs already? Family law?
Well, no, we said CPAs, but what is the overarching idea there? Development of those strategic partnerships, right? So that would be another bucket that would make sense, because you could be the person that the CPAs go to, the financial advisors go to, divorce attorneys. So you wouldn't want to miss that bucket if that was something that you need to do. Now, how do you get CPAs and financial advisors and divorce attorneys to call you? Well, that might be another bucket called networking, right? And we have to get out and meet those folks. So I think based on, again, what practice area you're in, and then also where you are in your practice. If you've been practicing for 30 years and you have 100 clients, 50 clients, and they think you walk on water, and you're out networking all over the place, meeting a bunch of strangers, I would caution you. And I'd say, look, you're climbing to the top of a tree to gather fruit, right? You have all the fruit you need right in front of you. You're not harvesting it properly. Okay, and that would be a skill that we would want to work on with that individual. Okay, for some of the younger attorneys, you don't have all those clients, or you're doing everyone else's work. You're going to have to get out there and meet a bunch of strangers, and you're going to have to vet them, which I'm going to talk about by the way today. Okay, so again, develop some different strategies, leveraging existing connections, could be family, friends. Okay. Now, once you have your buckets, the 2 to 4 buckets that you're going to focus on your energies, the next point of a plan would be, how do we get more detail oriented? How do we tie actionable things that you can do to those strategies? Okay. So what you're going to want to do is think about some guidelines about how to write tactics, and I think that's where people miss the boat on planning, is they don't really get specific with their tactics. So they say something like, I'm going to network this year, meet a bunch of people. And if that's as far as you go with a plan, you're probably not getting in the weeds enough. Okay? So let me give you some guidelines for tactics if you want to write out some tactics. First of all, I think every strategy should have somewhere between 5 and 7 tactics. Which means if networking is my strategy, right, that I'm going to go out and network and cultivate relationships, I may want to write out some actionable things that relate directly to accomplishing that. One way to break them down is to get specific within each tactic with some additional bullet points. I'm going to give you an example of this in a moment. I'm going to show you a sample of a strategy with its corresponding tactics. I'm not going to leave you hanging out to dry. All right? I think of tactics a lot like a story. Every good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? Have you guys ever walked into a movie like 20 minutes late? Or I'll even give you a better story. My wife will walk into a show I'm watching 20 minutes into it. And what do you think I have to deal with then for the next 15 minutes? Who's that? Why does he hate her? And I'm going through this whole thing. I'm like, all right, pause. And I'll catch her up. But you want to have a story that covers all 3 elements. So, for example, in a plan, that might, in writing a plan and dealing with a specific strategy, it might be, how do you plan to be effective with networking? How do you execute when you are networking? And then how do you follow up after networking? And if you have all those pieces covered, then it's going to be pretty hard to fail. Okay, I mean, then you really have a good idea where you're going. The tactics should answer the questions: who, what, when, how, where, how, and why. So as you're writing tactics, if you ask those questions to yourself, and do it alone so no one thinks you're talking to yourself, then you're going to be able to answer those questions and get a little more detail around how you're writing the plan. So let me go through that for you. So the strategy is to leverage my existing database to obtain introductions. So your database consists of law school friends. Your database consists of family, other friends. You've got clients. You've got, I mean, you could be everyone in your outlook. Okay. First thing that I would want to do is I would want to print that out. I'd want to like list out all the people I know, and I'd want to go through them, and I'd want to rate them A, B, or C. Okay. I want to look at who I should be spending time with, and so my cousin Bob does data entry for some company in Utah. Is that an A, B, or C? I mean, there's no ability for him to provide legal work, right? So why am I reaching out to him to have a networking meeting? The other one is my Uncle Larry. He's the CEO of a $20 million manufacturer right here in Wheeling. And we never really talk business. He doesn't really know what I do is, and I'm not an attorney, but I'll play one on TV. So, he doesn't really know what I do as an attorney, as a corporate transactional guy, and he never really talks enough about his business. So would that be someone that I'd want to maybe meet? Maybe A or B, right? So let's look at defining them. A defined as best relationship, best opportunity. I'm his favorite nephew, and I'm an attorney with a good amount of experience that I think could add value for his company. So that would be an A. B could be best relationship, good opportunity, or best opportunity, good relationship. Again, or you're not really sure where it falls. A C could be, it's a big question mark, potentially. Okay? So I've got this database of, let's say, 500 people. I'm going through it. I've got 10 A's. I've got 25 B's. The rest are C's. I really know I've got about 35 people to work with. That's going to be my bucket for 2017, for example, okay? Break it down into 2 lists. Maybe you have a client list. Maybe you have a friends and family list. It could be a list of existing and past clients, potential referral partners. And here's the part that's always missed. When are you going to have this list completed? Well, I'll get around to it. Eventually I'll have a list, right, Steve? No, you will not have a list. You'll go another year without a list, because that's what I see every day. You have to have a deadline, and you have to schedule it in your calendar to take an hour and go through your contacts, okay? Any questions about planning? And again, I'm gonna try to send everybody, I'll send you a sample or an article I wrote on planning, so you'll have some backup to go back and write your plan if you wanna get something. It's not an MBA 50-page plan, and it's not a very vague, you know, hey, I'm gonna do it this year type of plan. It's somewhere in between, maybe 2 pages, maybe 3 pages tops, take you about 90 minutes. But you'll have a plan that shows you the roadmap to exactly where you wanna go this year. The next stage is, all right, so I've got this plan, great. Now, how do I actually execute? How do I go out and network? How do I go out and leverage people I know? Well, that's the next stage we're gonna talk about. So, the reason I have a pyramid up here is because I think that there's different levels of difficulty of how it relates to business development. I think for many attorneys, speaking and writing is a great way to go, but it doesn't reap the rewards very quickly. Does anybody here get all their business from speaking and writing? Does anybody here get any business from speaking and writing? So a few hands go up, okay? So there's a reason I have it at the bottom of the pyramid. It takes time, it's hard, it's, you know, and then there's might be missteps that happen along the way. So again, I'm not saying that it doesn't have value. Obviously I'm speaking, and obviously I'm writing. But I didn't expect it to come back to me with business. It's been years I've been doing this, not months, okay? A way to get business more quickly would be moving up the pyramid to networking. Okay, networking is wonderful. It can also be very challenging from a time perspective, because again, you might find that you're out there meeting all these people and just you're a professional meter. You're not really getting any traction with networking. So we're gonna give you some skills on that. Strategic partnerships, again, moving up the chain. Patrick and I are working together today to determine if we have a long-term ability to be strategic partners. So what does that mean? I know attorneys. Who does he want to meet? Attorneys, right? And vice versa. How about Amata? We have Amata in the house, right? Ron, Beth, Chris, okay? Do you guys know Amata Law Centers? That's my home, right? So for 4 years, that's where I go. That's where my office is. It's a virtual center for lawyers and people like me that aren't lawyers but work with lawyers. And again, they provide all the support and resources and room that I need to run my business, okay? But they're a strategic partner. They brought some folks here today as well. And I try to find people for them. So this is why strategic partnerships are so wonderful. And then lastly is, client introductions. If you have clients that can introduce you and keep you top of mind on a regular basis, anytime there's litigation, anytime there's real estate, anytime there's personal injury, and you're the name that they're throwing out there and they're moving people forward on your behalf, that's important, okay? And we're gonna, deal with that in more detail. What you're really looking to do though, if you can work towards this goal, is to spend 80% of your time up here and 20% of your time down there, okay? Because that's gonna reap the best rewards for the least amount of time and effort is working with people that just refer you regularly. That's really what you're looking for to get that sustainability. And the right people. They're bringing you institutional clients, for example, versus small deals that just come and go. Okay, bigger deals. So let's start at the beginning. How do we approach events? Okay, what do we like about attending events? What do we hate about attending events? Help me out. What do we love about events? Does anybody love events? Do we hate events? Do you hate this event? I hope you don't hate this event. All right? What's the benefit of attending an event?
Food.
What?
New contact. New
contacts. You're meeting new people you never would have met. What else? Great food. Great buffets. No. Jason's deli. Okay, so obviously the main benefit is, yes, we're trying to meet people, and hopefully you're qualifying the types of events you go to. The downside of events is very time consuming. You might meet a lot of the wrong people. It's uncomfortable for many attorneys. I mean, even Mr. Networker here goes into an event with 300 people and it's a wall of people, and I'm like, oh, this is not my scene. I'd rather be in a small group. I'd rather be individual with people. That's just easier for me. I've learned to deal with it. I've worked around it, but it's not my favorite, especially if it's a drinking type thing. And I'm really out. I mean, that's my past. That's my 30s. You know, that's not my 40s. Forget that. I can't compete. So first thing we want to do if we're looking to attend events, do your research. Don't just hear about an event and show up. I think that's a misstep. Okay? You want to look at where you should be. Where should you be? What types of events are best for you? All right, let's say, who's here in real estate? We got a nice real estate group. Okay, so in real estate, what are the events that make sense for you to attend? Help me out. Thanks.
I haven't been to any. I mean, I've done the events with Citywide where they put me in front of realtors. It's not-
Well, so wait a second,
That's
you're onto
like one
something.
of those
So,
strategic partnerships, really.
but isn't that the best way to go?
That is a
You're in a
great
room
way.
full of people that can refer you. I don't think it
That's
gets much
exactly-
better than that.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
that's the best.
So,
I'm
yeah,
sure
so-
there are other events.
So it's qualified in that you know ahead of time that the room that you're going into has your target in it
Yeah.
for referrals. Okay. What else? What's another way to research? Yes.
Brokerage events,
Okay, brokerage events.
they have meetings and such.
Okay. So how about a local chamber of commerce? Yes and no, right? You would want to know maybe ahead of time how many people are there that are in real estate. Well, nobody. It's all retail. It's all stores local to Winnetka. Well, that's not for you. So why are you going to go and invest half a day or 3 hours in an event where it's all retail people? That's not so. Again, you're going to want to do your research first, asking around or going online. Understand who you're targeting to meet. You all should think that you have 2 targets. When you go to a networking event, there are 2 targets that you're looking to meet that could add value in your world. What are those 2 targets? One we've already spoken about. Referral sources, strategic partners, same thing. What about what's the other? It's even better. Actual clients, right? Someone that wants to do a real estate deal, right? That has a real estate deal. I don't have an estate plan and I need one because I'm going away to Europe with my wife. I'm a potential client for an estate plan, right? So we want to look at those. Now, if you're looking to meet with GCs, general counsels, if you're looking to meet with CEOs of major corporations, where do you go to find them? Now we're getting to a little more tricky type area. That might have to be conferences. That might be charities, boards. Well, I'm going to get into that. I'll give you a list. Okay, where are those people located? You have to figure that out. And then also, and just as a side note, what are you interested in? Okay, if you're in corporate transactions, but you have a great interest in manufacturers, okay, maybe you want to look at where the manufacturers, maybe you want to get involved in some board that is, deals with manufacturing. One of my clients is she's into animals, and she joined the board of Paws. So she's involved with Paws, and now she's meeting all these other executives that sit on the panel with her at Paws. Okay? So go to these events, test and test again. What do I mean by that? Go there, and your job when you go to an event is to qualify it. Is this something that makes sense for me to attend again? Should I come back, or is this the wrong place for me? Maybe I shouldn't come back. Don't be upset about that or afraid to push things away. Your time is literally money, and if you're just attending things to keep active, that's not a great approach. And you could spin your wheels for years attending a group that doesn't produce anything for you, because you're just in the wrong place. Okay? So here's some examples: associations, charities, boards, private clubs and groups. Something about myself you may not know, since I haven't told you. I'm a huge fan of platform tennis, right? Sean and I both play platform tennis, all right? And if you don't know what that is, it's like tennis, racquetball, and ping pong outside on a platform surrounded by chicken and wire, and we play outside in the winter. So it's like somebody was on serious drugs and they came up with this sport, and now we're hooked, okay? But here's the thing: I play for Midtown Bannockburn, and I go around, I play against the Skokie Club. I play against all these high-level clubs, and I'm meeting attorneys that run, that are the managing partners of their firms. I'm meeting attorneys that, are interested in my services. I'm meeting people all the time. And I'm building up also referral sources, not only for myself, but for others. I'm able to provide referrals on a regular basis because my network allows for that. But what a great way to meet people. I'm not upset about having to attend there. I'm having fun playing a sport I love. And we're having beers after. Not so much me, but we, most people. Also alumni. Okay, so thinking about when you're attending an event, you want to really be smart about which events you attend, and then how you work the event, and how you follow through on the event. Okay, and the biggest thing that I found is, I used to meet with everybody. I was a professional meter. I met with the woman that sold Avon. I met with the guy who was doing a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme. I met with that person. I met with multiple people. I met with people from Northwestern Mutual, Tom James, you name it, I met, okay? But I didn't qualify anyone, all right? So I was spinning my wheels for a while until, of course, I said, enough of this. I'm a busy professional, and I'm gonna change that. What I found is that it's really about asking questions. It's not so much about what I say and how I present myself, so much as the questions I ask and how I engage people that I meet. So if I meet Sean at an event and I'm prepared with 3 or 4 good questions, I could get him talking, and very quickly I could figure out, is this someone that I can help? Is this someone that can help me? Is this someone that is qualified for me to have a coffee with? And if the answer is no, nice meeting you, 10, 15 minutes, and I'm gonna move on to someone else. Excuse myself to the bathroom, go to the bar, whatever, okay? So be a great listener, have a list of questions. What's a good question? You may have a good question that you would ask someone at a networking event to sort of qualify that they might be good for you.
Isn't what keeps you up at night, like?
So what keeps you up at night is that might be, like, if we're looking at the spectrum of questions, that might be after 10 minutes, or that might be something where you really feel there's a great connection and you're getting into some depth about their business.
Right.
But I don't think, obviously that wouldn't be an opener.
Right.
Nice to meet you, what keeps you up at night? Scary things under my bed.
Well, then what do you do? I mean,
Right, so obviously we're gonna
threshold
start with a crawl, move to a walk, move to a jog, right? So, nice to meet you, Sean. Tell me what you do, right? He's an attorney, personal injury, he helps these kinds of people. What brings you here today? How did you hear about this group? Okay, so now I'm learning more about the group and what he enjoys about it. What types of people are you looking to meet? Who are you most interested in meeting? And he tells me, and so I'm not offering anything of value to him, but I am learning about whether I can help him and learning about whether or not there's some synergies. Okay, and again, if he's that data entry guy from Utah that just is in town for the weekend, it's going to be fairly, polite and quick. Not going to invest an hour with the gentleman. Okay. So here's an acronym that I came up with that I think is really strategic and easy to remember as a way to qualify people that you meet. So as I'm talking with Sean and I'm listening to what he's saying, I'm going through TLEND in my head. Okay? I'm not one of it that, the cliff notes on my hand. All right, but first of all, is he someone that's trustworthy? Now, how can I tell that in a 10-minute conversation? Very difficult to do.
Lawyers, though, right?
What? Yeah,
No.
Ask him if he has his license.
do you have your license and can I see it? So that could be one way to go. Mostly what I'm looking for initially with trust is he paying attention? Right? If he's looking at everyone else in the room except me and I'm the person that's having a direct conversation, that's a concern. It also could be something that could be medicated. So trust, but I think trust is something that you would find out through an initial conversation. I would move that initial conversation, if I felt good about him, to a phone call prior to a coffee. Now, I only do that because I'm A, incredibly busy, B, I've gotten burned where I've met someone, thought they were great, met them for coffee, only to be handed a sales pitch, okay, or only to be my ear talked off for 2 hours. I don't have time for that, I don't have interest in that. Okay, I want to build relationships, but I want it to be done in a more organized fashion. So again, let's say I schedule a call with Sean to continue this dialogue from the event. He blows me off, or he reschedules twice or 3 times for a phone call. This is someone that I feel is committing to something and then breaking the commitment. Probably not trustworthy in my book. Number 2 is like. Do I like this guy? Now I don't like Sean at all. So why am I going to go and spend more time with someone that immediately turned me off? Was effusive. I just couldn't tolerate him for 5 minutes. I don't care who he knows. He could be very well connected. I'm not going to deal with people like that. Obviously, that's not Sean. Expertise. Is the person you're talking to an expert? So you're dealing with someone in real estate and it's their first day, That might be for you because it's your first day, or it might be for you because, you know what, in 2 years, they're gonna be the person you're the first one in. But if you've been in real estate for 25 years and you're looking for the most experienced and, you know, people that are gonna hand you the biggest deals, maybe spending more time with this young buck would be a good value for them, but maybe not for you. So maybe you're being generous with your time, or you're just gonna be nice and then move on, okay? A quick example, I met a gentleman a few years ago who was an expert at websites for lawyers, okay? Super nice guy, we met for lunch, everything was great, expert, okay? So I said, you know, I looked online, I couldn't really find anything of the sites that you've done. He goes, well, no, I just have, my site's under construction, it's a work in progress. You know, us website guys, we're always trying to improve ourselves. I said, well, who are some of the firms that you've worked with? And he says, well, I can't tell you that, that's all, you know, confidential. Okay, so let me break it down for you. Here's someone who wants to get into doing legal websites for law firms, but has never done one. Okay, that's what I pulled. And that's not someone I can refer to Joe or someone that, you know, runs a firm that is gonna be looking at me for a high-level referral. Okay, not gonna happen. Does the person have a network? Do they have people in their network, or they don't know anyone? They've been sitting at home reading books. That's fine, but that's not necessarily someone that's going to be able to help you a great deal. And then lastly, it's always nice if you have someone that has a higher level of experience that is a decision maker. So if you can meet someone who runs the firm, runs the company, they're the top person at a mortgage company. That's maybe better. Like I know the Pro Mortgage, right? Like I know the guy who runs it. I also know a couple people that work for him, and it's good to know the person who runs it. That person has higher level contacts than some of the people that work for him, for example. All right. So think about this as you're meeting people. How qualified are they to really work with you and for there to be value both ways? Okay. Now, what do I hear all the time from attorneys? Great, Steve. I love the idea of meeting with all these people. How do I have an effective meeting? Because I meet with people and it's just a blur, right? It's at a Starbucks. It's very noisy. We agreed on an hour. We're sitting there for what? Hour and a half? Raise your hand. It's happened, right? It's not an hour. It's an hour and a half. It's 2 hours. Does anybody have time for that? So I've come up with something that I think is really, really strong, and I've had a lot of success myself and also with my attorney clients to run a very casual yet constructive one-on-one meeting. And it happens by taking control of the meeting. And so these are some steps I'm going to give you to really control a networking meeting. And I want you to keep in mind, this is with a stranger. This is not, Jordan and I know each other now for 10 years. We were friends, back from the North Shore days and all that. And we're meeting for coffee. That's not this meeting. This is, I just met Jordan for the first time at a networking event. We spoke on the phone. We believe that there's synergies, but now we're meeting for coffee in my office or his office. Why not at Starbucks? I hate to take business away from Starbucks, but why not Starbucks? The seating is terrible. It's very distracting. It's very noisy, and I'm always sitting by a door and it's cold out. Okay, and I don't bring a sweater. So I would suggest highly that you find somewhere quiet to meet people for networking if you can help it. Lunch isn't that much better, by the way. Okay, constant interruptions. Chicago Cut. Love Chicago Cut. Met a couple of my clients there a few months ago. And it became a game. How many times are they going to come up and check on us? It was like 15 times in an hour lunch. Everything okay here? I mean, I think maybe they were playing a game, like the staff, to see how many times they could bother us. We were laughing. It was laughable. And they were over-servicing, which I get over-servicing, but I mean, at the point we couldn't get into a dialogue. All right. So in a one-on-one meeting, we're gonna go after a win-win game plan. And what's the best case scenario for a networking coffee? If you could walk out of a networking coffee with the best case scenario, what would it be? Yes.
Where that person helps you and you help that person.
That person helps you and you help that person in some way, shape, or form. You're getting the ball rolling. You're moving that forward, where there's synergy and you guys can find common ground. What's the second best thing that can happen in a networking meeting? You could decide in that hour that this person is not for you and walk away and not follow up. Keep them on your email list. Be nice, make a friend, that's fine, but disqualify people. That's why TLEN was created. Who do I move forward and who do I move out? And that doesn't mean that they couldn't refer me down the road or that something magical could happen, but they're not really a prospective client for me, and they're not really going to be a strategic partner or a center of influence too. We can put that in there. So move them aside. So how do we figure that out? Well, we're going to do it in an hour. We're going to make an agenda that's permission-based. Okay, we're going to establish a game plan. We're going to establish the time, an hour. Now, can it go longer than an hour? I mean, yeah, if you're in that situation where everybody's so happy and things are really jiving, you can keep it, okay? But if it's not jiving, you want to keep it to an hour. If this person has a different idea in their head about what they're meeting you for, you need to be able to get out of there in an hour, if not sooner, okay? Purpose, is there a fit? Expectations, splitting up the talk time. I've had meetings that were an hour, they spoke for 58 minutes, and then at the end of it, they go, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, okay, you know, I've got my 2-minute infomercial down, but, you know, is that going to really do it justice? And then what's the outcome? And I like the outcome to be taking some baby steps forward with someone. Don't promise everything and don't promise nothing. If you're finding that there's synergy with someone, try to take them forward a little bit. Now, the way I look at this is, I'm a baseball scout, right? And I need to keep building up my team. I need to keep finding fresh talent for my team. So I'm out searching around, you know, where? Local ballparks? No, I'm probably going to hit up universities and high schools and Cuba and Japan and right, and all that type of thing. But my job is to not find a player that looks promising and put them on the starting lineup of the Cubs or Sox. What do we do in baseball? And I apologize for everyone that hates baseball. I'm not a big fan myself, but we are. Right, there's steps to move someone up to the majors. It isn't just happening overnight, right? So I recommend that you look at networking the same way. It's not, hey, I met you, here's my client list, take a look, right? And that may not be the way to go, because you really haven't tested them properly. So you're gonna wanna take it slow, okay? What I wanna do is control the meeting in a friendly way. So what I'm gonna do, and Sean's gonna help me out since he sat in the front row in the middle, is I'm going to go through a sample agenda of how I would set up a meeting, and I will caution you, because I work with attorneys, I know the way your mind is. If this sounds too formal for you, deal with it, because it's like something new. You have to get used to it. You have to try it out yourself. What I will tell you is that every skeptic that I've ever worked with that does this in their next networking meeting, comes back, calls me up and says, holy crap, this thing worked like a charm, okay? Because it benefits both parties, and that's really what both parties are looking for. So imagine that I'm sitting with Sean in my office with coffee in front of us. We've been talking about platform tennis, which we're both passionate about, for about 10 minutes. And then I say to Sean, listen, Sean, we could talk paddle all day, but listen, I know how valuable your time is. What I was hoping to do is just quickly set up a little bit of a game plan for our meeting today to make sure we make the best use of our time. Is that okay?
Sure.
Great. So I know we had agreed on an hour. We've got about 50 minutes left. I'm just going to shut my phone off. Is that okay?
Yes.
And so the purpose from my perspective was really to see if there's a fit for us to possibly work together in some capacity. I know we do different things, and there could be reasons to help each other. And what I was hoping to do is have you spend about 15 minutes telling me more about what you do, how you help people, the kinds of referrals that you're looking for. And then if we could turn around and I'll do the same 15 minutes, and that way we can kind of get equal talk time. Does that sound appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at the end of the meeting, if we feel like there's synergies and we want to kind of discuss next steps, maybe there's some small thing that we could do for one another that would help us test the waters a little bit. That could be an introduction. It could be inviting you to come to one of the events that I attend, something to just kind of make sure that we keep some momentum going forward. Is that appropriate as well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So help me out. Tell me a little bit more about your practice and what you do. And that's the lead in, the segue. So what did I accomplish in about 2 minutes at the beginning of a meeting? We established control, that this is to make the best use of our time. We established a time limit. We established that there needs to be a fit. We split up the talk time, and we both agreed that we would like to take next steps if appropriate. Why is that important? What do we both want out of this? Right? We both want momentum forward. So I'm just establishing the ground rules that help us make a win-win. Okay? Then if things stay on path, great. If things go off the path, and he's talking about his trip to Disney with the kids, and he's going on for 15 minutes about it, right? I can always pull him back and say, you know, Sean, as much as I love hearing about your Disney trip, you know, I know that we had agreed earlier to kind of stick to a business agenda here and learn more about each other. Would you mind if we just went back to that for a little bit? No, I want to talk about Disney. All done. And by the way, let's see some pictures. You want to see someone jump out a window? That'll happen. So, we set the agenda, we spend our 15, we're having this great conversation, everything is going well, okay? At the end of the meeting, normally what would be said at the end of a meeting like this? A typical networking meeting. Great to meet you, let's keep our eyes open, I'm sure there'll be ways we can work together down the road. What I'm suggesting right now, and this is a learned skill, this is something we would have to work on, is that I'm gonna coach Sean to a name. To an actual name of someone that he knows that he thinks could use my services, or someone that he thinks would be a good strategic partner for me. So I'm looking for either attorneys that he can directly introduce me to, or people like Patrick, or Ron, or Beth at Amata, or Chris at Amata, because they're potential strategic partners. I want to see how he plays the game, okay? And I'm going to provide for him, he's going to provide for me. And if he can't do that or won't do that, what does that tell me? Give him some more time, maybe. It also might be that maybe he's not really ready for this. He's not ready for prime time. And again, I'm not asking for his biggest client. I'm not asking for a managing partner of the major law firm in Chicago. We're talking about something very small, just to test the waters and see how we work together. So I would say the following, Sean, in hearing what you do and the kinds of people that you network with, and you're looking to meet doctors and such like that, I know a few, and I'm considering some thoughts about people I would want to bring up to you. Just out of curiosity, anyone come to mind that you think might be open to my services or having at least a phone call with me to talk about building their book?
Sure, some of the other lawyers that refer me cases in different areas, like divorce law.
Okay, so who's an example, and make up a name, but who's an example of someone you know in divorce, and he gives me a name. That's my job, is to find a name. And then I'm gonna kind of walk him through. Why does he believe that person would be good? Do they have an open mind? Would they be someone that would take my call? And then I'm actually going to help him set up a quality introduction. I call it a QI. Okay? That is a really critical point. Because what's he typically going to do? There's a divorce attorney, Steve, you should meet. Her name is Barbara Smith. Give her a call. Here's her number. She'd love to talk with you. No, she wouldn't. Okay? Think about this. I'm a personal trainer and you're 400 pounds. Do you want to talk to me? Probably not. Right? I represent something to attorneys, good or bad or indifferent. I'm the physical trainer for attorneys to learn business development. It's hard, it's difficult, it's challenging. So not everybody wants to meet me. But can Sean call Barbara and at least do a job of trying to help set the table for me? So he says, yeah, here's her name and number. I'd say, I appreciate that, Sean. Would you do me one more favor? And I know it would be really helpful. Would you call Barbara, mention that we met, maybe reference my website, reference my books, and see if she'd just be open to talking with me on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes. And if the answer is yes, then please send an email introduction and I can take charge from there. Okay, and if the answer is no, then just let me know, no problem, and we can talk about someone else. Is that okay? He says sure. And by the way, the doctor that I want to introduce you to is the head of Northwestern and blah, 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 and or the lawyer you want to meet. You're looking to meet referral sources in other areas, and I have those. So I'm not going to give him 100, I'm not going to give him none, I'll probably give him 1. Now, let's say that he doesn't follow up with Barbara, he doesn't follow up with me, I email him, he doesn't respond to my email, I call him, he doesn't respond to my call. What am I learning about my new ball player? The trust, the T-line, it's being broken. And so is this someone that I'm realistically going to be able to work with long term? The answer is obvious. That's why we have to go out and we have to meet a lot of people, because out of 10, maybe only 1 or 2 are really going to perform at a high level. But at least if we do the steps like setting agendas and walking them through to names and quality introductions and get those skills moving, it's going to give us every opportunity to make sure things happen versus winging it, which is not really a strategy. Okay? Always have a next step forward if it makes sense. Now, another point is, all right, so Sean and I are meeting. Sean's been in practice for 2 years in this made-up situation. What does he have to offer me? He doesn't really know that many attorneys. He doesn't really know that many people yet. So that's a concern that some of you might have. What do I offer these people? They're helping me. How am I helping them? Okay? So obviously, if you have a direct prospective client for somebody, that's top of the list. Okay, next to that, maybe you have a strategic partner. So I don't have a litigation matter for Sean. It's not like I have a personal injury litigation matter just sitting on my desk waiting for him. Okay, what else can I do to help him? Okay, maybe it's an introduction to another attorney that could refer him. Okay, Joe, I'm not going to pick on you a little. I'll pick on you a little bit. I'm not doing work with your firm right now. We have in the past, but what happened recently that helped you out? There was something we talked about.
Yeah, we hired a new marketing person your connection. I contacted Steve knowing him. We had been using some websites and stuff to try to find a person. They were ineffective, and so I called a couple of people and said, "Do you know anybody?" And Steve came up with a person that we hired.
So you have to think about ways you can add value for people that isn't just business. It could be a referral source, it could be a new employee, it could be a personal thing, a personal referral that they need. There was a time years ago where my son was in between schools, he needed a nanny, and I reached out to my network, and somebody came through with a great nanny for us. I mean, it couldn't have been better. Didn't have to hire a resource, a recruiter for that, and it worked out great. So again, personal referrals are great. Invite someone to an event. So I don't have a referral for Sean, but I'm going to invite Sean to come to this group that I run, and in that group, he's going to meet a bunch of attorneys, and that ends up being great for him. Okay, provide sound advice. Your lawyers, provide advice. That's another thing. Don't give away free advice, but you know, if somebody has a problem, you can at least ask more questions and talk them through it, and maybe, you know, it lands you a meeting. It might be something for a friend of theirs. Provide articles of interest to them or content, and there's more, but this is just a general list to get you started. All right, I'm going to wrap up with 2 points, and these are really critical points. You're taking the time to build a plan. You're taking the time to network. You're taking the time to meet with clients. And eventually, that lands you in front of someone who can use your services. Okay, so Jordan, in this made-up scenario, right, I'm unhappy with my wife. She's cheating on me. Heaven forbid. Valentine's Day yesterday. I find out she's cheating on me. Okay? So I approach you. I'm someone that could use your services, correct?
Sure.
Okay. What's the process that Jordan's going to go through with me? Is he going to pitch me? Pitch meeting. Who's heard of a pitch meeting? Your lawyers go on pitch meetings, right? That's what I've been told. Okay. So what we want to talk about is, first of all, admitting that you don't like sales, you don't like salespeople. It's not a part of your job description. It's not a part of why you got into law. Is that, everybody agree with me on that? Pretty much, okay? Why do we hate sales and salespeople? I can tell you why I hate salespeople. Why do you hate salespeople? Let's go. It should be easy.
They're using you.
They're using you for their own profit. What else? Annoying. Right? It's all about them. It's not about you, okay? And this has been going on forever, okay? So why is selling so hard? It's become much harder than it ever has been. I mean, I've been in sales for 20 plus years, and it's never been harder. Okay? And it isn't that salespeople have changed so much. It's really about the buyers. The buyers have changed. How you buy and how I buy is different now than it was 20 years ago, 15 years ago. So let's take a look. There's a traditional business development model that's been around for like 80 years. 95+% of all the attorneys that I work with, and we're going into hundreds and hundreds of attorneys, used this model. They don't use it anymore, but this is the model they use. They find a prospective client, they make a pitch. From the pitch, they do what's called a trial close. So what do you think? Should we get started? The prospective client has objections. Your rates are high, have to think about it. We've got to discuss this with our internal group. There's something that's going to come up that's going to halt and pause the process. You try to handle it. Well, if it's a rate thing, can we lower our rates? What can we do to get this going? You try to handle it, and then you try to move for the close. So this is what's happening not only in the legal space, but also in every sales space, okay? And that was working for many, many years. Again, I used to sell advertising, I sold franchises, I sold a lot of different things, and this was the way that we did it. The problem is the buyers have changed. So take off your sales hats, put on your buyer hat. How do we buy? What do we do when we buy? We do research. Do we just go in and just get it? right? What do we, you know, there's a process that we go through, and here's the process. I walk into Macy's, I'm gonna get my wife a Valentine's gift. Salesperson approaches me and says, "May I help you, sir?" And what do I say?
Just look.
Not only do I say just looking, I actually do this, just looking. And I don't even know that I'm doing this. This is subconscious. Okay? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting my hands up? Get away from me. I'm not wanting to be approached. I don't like you. You're this bad person that I want to talk to. Okay? And I'm sure it's a lovely person, but that's how we become as buyers. Because we're attacked. And because we're oversold, and because we feel like we can't trust them. So what I did was I lied. I actually do need help. I don't know what to get my wife, and you know, where's the coach aisle and all that kind of. All right. The second reason that we lie and stall is because we want to gather information and price. That's our goal as a buyer. Okay. We don't want to get burned, so we're going to do our due diligence and we're going to get as much information and price as possible. Okay. That takes us to lie number 2, which is once we've gathered our information and price, now we can compare, go back and forth. We can negotiate. We have what? As a buyer, we have what at this point? Knowledge and power. We can control the process. And what about the lowly salesperson that's trying to make a commission? They're kind of screwed. They don't really have a lot of ways to handle this anymore. All they do is provide everything, and then it's all up to us. And we could disappear forever, and they would never have any recourse, which is the 4th step of a buyer model. Okay? So if you look at the selling model, this is all about the seller. That model is all about the buyer. So how do they work well together? They don't. Okay, the buyer's all about the buyer, the seller's all about the seller. Where's the union? Where's the relationship? Look at this connection. Prospect lies to get the presentation, to get information and price, trial close, lie number 2, objections, disappearing act. There's a correlation between these two, and they're not working well together at all. So when I talk about sales-free selling, what I'm really talking about is this model right here is absolutely dead. It's absolutely dead. And all you're doing is putting your time and energy at risk when you do that. So we have to take the control away from the buyer. We have to control it in order to accomplish a win-win scenario. That's what we're looking for, just like with networking. Win-win. That's the goal. So how do we do this? Okay, number 1 is we need to flip the current model of selling. We can't continue to go in with a pitch. That's not really the appropriate way to approach business anymore. Okay? We need to change the way the buyer buys. Okay, the buyer just want numbers. Give me your numbers. What are your rates? What do you charge? Right? And that's not really appropriate. That's like asking, how much does a bag of groceries cost? Well, what's in the bag? Doesn't matter. What does a bag of groceries cost? So that doesn't make sense. But that's what's happening when you go in and you pitch blindly. You don't know what their needs are. You haven't done any in-depth questioning to understand what they need. So we're going to do I'm going to teach you just real quick a couple steps that really change the game. And these are all listed on Origination Station, which I'm going to show you, and also my book. We're going to set up some upfront rapport. We're not going to walk in and start talking business. We're going to walk in and we're going to be prepared to build some rapport, and not about the weather or traffic. Okay? Do your research. Have some questions prepared. Go in and get the prospective client talking about him or herself. Then we're going to set an agenda similar to the way that we did in the networking scenario. We're going to set a little bit of a different agenda in order, again, to control the meeting. We're going to ask questions. The questions are to identify problems, needs, issues, what keeps you up at night. That's what we're trying to identify in this meeting, not what can we sell them. Okay? We're also going to do some qualifying. A lot of times we do find issues and problems, but we don't qualify everything that's surrounding the situation. For example, are they committed to proceeding forward to work with you? Okay? Are you dealing with the only decision maker? If the person that you're dealing with has a shirt and it says, right across the white shirt, it says Mr. Big, okay, does that mean that they're the decision maker? Trust but verify, right? So I would say, Mr. Big, other than yourself, is there anyone else that would be involved in this decision to change counsel? No, it's just me. Can't you read my name? It says Mr. Big. Then I would say, Okay, I get that. And do me a favor, share with me your process. What's your process that you're gonna go through to select a new council? Well, I gotta get your information, and I gotta run it up the committee, I gotta talk to my 12-year-old niece, so what did we just find out? Not the only decision maker, one of them. And then financial, do they have the money to pay you? You might wanna know that, okay? If I've been paying $3.50 an hour for an attorney, and you're $7.50, and that doesn't come up, is there gonna be a problem? Yeah, there's gonna be a problem, because as soon as you said $7.50, I'm done. My ears shut off, everything in the meeting that happens. And so when someone asks you your rates up front, before you've even done any kind of discovery to uncover their problems, their needs, what's happening in that meeting? You may have come in too high or too low for what their comfort level is or where they really are. My budget is $3.50 an hour, and you come in at $200 an hour. What do I think about you? You must not be very experienced or good at $200 an hour, or if you come in at $7, well, that's ridiculous. So you might want to hold off on giving rates and information, and again, presenting. Why are you presenting to someone that isn't qualified to buy from you? This is the big switchover. If you have someone that doesn't have problems, isn't committed to solving the ones they do have, isn't the decision maker, and financially isn't qualified to pay you, is that someone you want to pitch to? Why would you? So if we can identify all that in a meeting, then we know who we should present to and who we shouldn't, okay? Okay, and then present only to their issues. That's really what we're focusing on. We're not presenting everything, all right? So, soup to nuts, okay, we're really going through this to hit all the points. Look at this, prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Think about that. That's my mantra. You're going in and prescribing something to someone, rates and solutions, and you're giving free advice. When you haven't even identified their problems, their commitment to solve them, to work with you, none of that's been done. That's a big misstep. Okay, last thing I'm going to cover, client retention plan. All clients are not created equal. Okay, there are clients that are institutional that can mean $100,000 a year in business for you. There's clients that could do one time for $1,000 and they're gone. So we want to think about how we plan to retain clients. Okay, and again, I like to keep it simple. I'll just break them up into A clients, B clients, C clients, similar to what we did before in the plan. Okay, think about the relationship and the opportunities, and develop a plan for each group. So the C's might get your newsletter. Okay, but if you've got clients that are really good clients, you might want to get together with them every quarter. Okay, what about taking them to a game? What about referring them stuff? There's all kinds of things that you can do. So think about these things as far as loyalty and retention. Number one, be a great lawyer. My father is a retired attorney. He was such a good lawyer that he did eulogies when his clients died. I mean, you got to be a pretty good counselor to get invited to do a eulogy, right? Be their counselor, build the social component, be a friend, okay? Provide business and personal connections. Don't just do the work for them. Figure out what else their business needs. What else can you help them with? Okay, be your client's go-to guy or gal. I have clients call me all the time, whether they're looking for a job, whether they're looking for a handyman for their home. They call me, hey, do you know anybody? Why are you calling me? Well, because you know somebody. I do know somebody. Okay? So email or mail articles of interest, okay, FaceTime, phone calls. Are you getting in front of these people? And what do I mean by develop multiple contacts? So if you're working with a company, you've got the GC that you work with. Is that it? That one person, that's your relationship? What happens if that GC leaves or gets fired or changes jobs? Is that business guaranteed yours? No. The GC leaves, the new GC comes in, where are you? Okay, so you're going to want to develop multiple contacts. Just always be interested. I mean, you never know what you're going to uncover. Better you can ask questions and learn about their business, about their personal stuff. More things will come up, especially if you're in a full-service firm. I mean, you might be handling real estate, but if you're in a full-service firm and you're asking good questions about a company, labor and employment issues come up, IP issues come up, tax issues come up, and you're there to quarterback that. That's just all icing on the cake. All right, I'm going to wrap up with two things. What this is about is really just trying to get introductions from your clients. most attorneys that I talk to are uncomfortable with this idea. And so what we want to do is we want to get comfortable with it. And there are 3 different ways that I come up with. Number 1 is help your client uncover the prospect that makes sense. You can do the legwork at a time through LinkedIn for identification. Number 2 is asking in a way that makes sense. For example, I could say to Sean, hey, and Sean's a past client of mine. I can say that, right? That's cool. So I could say, why don't we get together for lunch? We'll talk about your business plan, but also I'd like to come up with maybe some names for you of attorneys you're looking to meet, and I know you know a bunch, so maybe you could help me out. Is that something you'd be open to?
Sure.
Okay. So again, it's quid pro quo. That takes a lot of the pressure off of asking someone for an introduction, okay? Because I can provide value to him as well. The other thing is, let's say I've done really good work for him, right, and he's happy with the services, then I could also say, I know you've been happy, there may be other people that you know that I could be of value to as well. Would you be open to talking about that when we get together? Okay, and so I'm getting that approval and I can bring it up in the meeting. Take care. All right. Solid marketing plan, that's your starting point. Networking, okay? Understanding that you can't go in and just pitch the way you used to pitch, okay? Improve the client experience and obtaining introductions. Now these are all skills that I teach. These are skills that are learnable. So if you're saying, hey, this sounds difficult, keep in mind these are all things that you can work on. I work with attorneys that are 60 years old and been in practice for 30 years. I work with 3-4 years out in some cases. All right. So here's what I want to do. I have before you leave, I have some questions, and I want to show you something real quick. I've been working for the last 2 years putting together an online e-learning platform for attorneys that complements the coaching that I do. My question to you is, how much does an airline ticket cost? Throw out a number. $350. How much does it cost to go to a Cubs game for 4? $1,000. $1,000. How much does a fancy dinner out with your spouse or friends cost? $100. Okay, not for me. Now the last question is a trick one. How much have you invested in the last 2 years learning business development? That's when things get, right, Cheryl, that's when things get super quiet. So I've got programs that go as high as, and you're sitting down so I can say this, as high as, upwards of $10,000, which you might think is a lot. I've had a lot of people tell me that I should be charging a lot more. And I've got programs all the way down. For everyone here today, I have a special offer. Okay, here's my little pitch, if you will. There's a program I put together. I'm going to show you what it is. Okay, normally it's $450. For today only, it's $300 a month. No, it's $300 for the year. So you can invest $300 today. On the back of your survey, there's a credit card form. Only today. After today, it's back to $450. You're going to get copies of my books, and you're going to get a one-on-one session with me and access to me phone and email with questions. And I'm just going to show you a quick video so you can see what this is really about. Hang tight. Will this go off automatically? Rate pressures and the overall commoditization. I love technology. Hello, my name is Steve Fretzin, and welcome to Origination Station. For almost 10 years now, I've devoted myself to helping attorneys dramatically grow their law practices. During this time, I've also witnessed a dramatic shift in the legal industry, increased competition, rate pressures, and the overall commoditization of legal services. As I've heard so many times over the years, I didn't go to law school to get into sales, or I'm too busy to think about business development, or worst of all, my hours are down and I'm worried about the firm letting me go. The reality is that it's the business of law, and only by growing your book of business are you truly free to control your own destiny. Origination Station was created to give you, as an attorney, all of the tools, training, and support necessary to build a successful and sustainable law practice. Quite simply, Origination Station is a web-based platform that contains all of the information you need to build a successful law practice. we've taken business development education to greater heights by providing 3 levels of interaction to make your experience unique and effective. First, you'll have access to professionally produced interactive videos with myself, as well as high-level content directly from the legal industry's top experts and rainmakers. You can watch one short and targeted video or an entire course to quickly ramp up your knowledge and skill sets. Second, you'll have direct and live access to me, Steve Fretzin, author and founder of the Origination Station. I am committed to speaking with each member of my community to ensure you feel supported and that your business development goals are obtained. Third, you'll have peer-to-peer connectivity with other lawyers who are engaged in the community for the very same reasons you are. Our network will embrace the sharing of knowledge in order to help everyone excel at business development. As a valued member of our community, you can customize your experience by choosing which topics, program levels, or interactivity fit your individual needs. The community will be available to you day or night and can be accessed on any device. The best part, it's free to try for 30 days. In addition, we offer a 100% money-back guarantee. We want to act as your virtual partner in helping you drive revenue, achieve financial independence, and most importantly, get back to having the balanced life that you deserve. We believe that attorneys should work to live, not live to work. Please join us today to begin a new era in your legal career. Origination Station, legal business development that works. So again, if that's something that you're interested in as a way to get engaged with me, we'll start with a 20-minute consultation, work on your plan. Number 2 is you'll have phone and email access to me for the next year. So if you have a question, a big appointment you want to talk about, you'll get both of my books today to walk away with. I'll sign them for you before you leave. I've got them up there. There's also 4 webinar CLEs that you'll get throughout the year, throughout 2017. So whatever you got here, plus another 3, okay? And then you're gonna have all the video content that's there and also what we add. And I've got amazing videos. Cheryl, do you want to mention just some of the videos you've seen? Because she was an early charter member.
Actually, they're great. And they're little snippets. They're not more than, 5 minutes long.
About 3, 4.
Yeah, and you can learn anything from step-by-step how to network to, building your business over time. And it's just really, you could, in the middle of the day, if you have like 15 minutes, you just go in there and say, oh, okay, now I can work on this. I think it's outstanding. I think it's a great concept. You just have to stay focused on the fact that it's online.
Yes, yes. Well, I try to make it interactive so it isn't just a talking head. It's me having a conversation with a client and giving talking points along the way. So what I would recommend is there's a 100% money back guarantee. Is that if you do it today for $300, fill out the credit card form on the back, leave it behind with me, and I'll give you some books to take with you today. If you don't want to go that route, you can go into a free trial. I think there's 7 or 8 videos if you want to test it out on your own. And then just let me know on the survey if you'd like to talk more about coaching individually for you after today. My hope is that everyone here, and I apologize for the sales pitch, but it's cool and I have to talk about it. So are there any questions about anything I covered? I covered a lot of ground today. So any questions before we wrap up? Okay, then I just want to thank you all for coming today. Hopefully you got a couple of good takeaways, and hopefully I'll keep all of you close, and we'll all talk soon. Okay? Thank you.